There's a lot of support, and that is good to see people coming out supporting wrestlers you like, supporting, the product you like. The AEW coming out and supporting is a very good thing. But when you're blindly calling people homophobic for comments that were just, I would say they were more ignorant than anything. Just, I don't think he was educated on the topic, the community. But then again, like I said, also he said way worse things on that podcast against other people, in nobody batted an eye. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody cares about that. So we just had NXT's TakeOver show, and guess what? It is still being overshadowed by this whole Jim Cornette, Joey Ryan, and Sonny Kiss story, and everybody, like literally every wrestler is jumping in on this, this feud, I guess, beef. I don't know what you want to call it. It's going to go on forever. It's almost like Jim Cornette and Vince Russo. It's not going to die. But as weird as this sounds, as I know this is going to be weird, but as weird as this sounds, I think it's going to be ironic, but I think what Jim Cornette said was probably the best case scenario for Sonny Kiss. As far as, a lot of people did not know who Sonny Kiss was. A lot of people still don't know who Sonny Kiss is, but Sonny Kiss is being blown up right now. We're talking about probably one of the most tweeted names in professional wrestling, besides Jon Moxley, with how big he is right now, is probably Sonny Kiss in what's going on. Yes, it is weird to say, but I think Sonny Kiss is only going to benefit from the stuff that Cornette said and did. So if you're new to this, you don't know what was said, you don't know the beef going on, here is a little quick clip of what Cornette said on his podcast. I'm going to clip the whole bit, so you're going to catch everything that's said. It's pretty quick, and here you go.
And this guy, now that I've seen him for more than a couple of second clip, can't be 5 feet tall and can't be 100 pounds. It's fucking embarrassing. Then here comes Sonny Kiss, who apparently got off his day job at the drag show at the fucking Tropicana. And I don't know, but see, they're not explaining any of this. Marco Stunt. Why is this small child competing in this match with the legless guy and the 400-pound man and all this other, the guy with the dinosaur mask, and then with the transvestite, or exotico, as they would say at AAA. Did anybody bother to explain why he looks like that? No. They just accepted that here's another member of our roster. No reason to, nothing to look at here, folks. A new view. And then here comes Tommy Dreamer.
So, yes, there was a couple things said in there that were obviously not the smartest things to say, but it really depends on where you fall on this thing. I think a lot of it is people getting hyped up, and I think a lot of the hate is, personally, I believe, coming from him kind of, quote unquote, shitting on AEW for this show. He said a lot of stuff that he liked. He said a lot of stuff he liked, but there's a lot of stuff he didn't like. A lot of the stuff he didn't like happened in this Battle Royal. Now, the comments he said about Sonny Kiss, he used word like transvestite. Now, honestly, this is 100%. I also was I don't know if the word is uneducated, I guess, that is a no word. That's a word that shouldn't be said. I literally looked it up. I Googled it to see what it was. I even Googled, is it bad to say this word? I honestly, 100%, whether or not, it's good or bad or whatever, I honestly did not know that this word was a bad word to say. 100%, being full disclosure, I did not know that. I would say, relatively familiar with a lot of stuff in the LGBT community. I have, as well as a lot of people do, they have a lot of friends in that community and stuff, and I completely support that stuff. Never once ever been against it. But I still, even though I, supported that, I did not know, there's a lot of pronouns, there's a lot of things that you're not allowed to say. And I think, especially something for Jim Cornette, who's older and, not in the loop, as far to speak. I think this probably boils down to him using words that he didn't know were offensive, I think, is really the thing. Now, that is, and people automatically label him as homophobic. Now, if I would have used this word somewhere, I don't know if I would have used it somehow and somebody labeled me as homophobic. I mean, I think that there's a lot of things out there that that you don't know about, and if you say a certain word, I don't think that automatically makes you, a certain, homophobic or racist or anything like that. It's just not true. I have listened to Jim Cornette for several years now. I have never heard him ever be, racist or anything. Yes, he stirs shit up. He talks a lot of shit. He likes to, a lot of his stuff is he tries to be funny as well as, honest and passionate and stuff. Personal opinion, I don't think he ever intentionally had any ill will towards Sonny Kiss. What he said, of course, offended some people, and I think it boils down to him just not knowing that the words that he used were offensive. But he uses other words like exotico, which I'd never heard that before. He said in AAA they would say that, and I looked it up, and exotico is a luchador fighting, performing in drag, which, again, whether or not... See, this is where it really gets hard. I don't know much about Sonny Kiss either. I don't know what pronouns Sonny Kiss is, wanting to go by. And that is one of the frustrations that he had on the show, is he had a bunch of AEW had these people out there, and there was no backstory. He didn't know anything about Sonny Kiss. So automatically he sees the way Sonny Kiss is dressing, and it looks to be, in drag, like more feminine, more in... And that is where he kind of, could have pushed some buttons. And I think it's more about him just not knowing. I think it's weird. I'm not saying he's in the right, because he definitely said stuff that is offensive to people. I just think that he didn't know that is the problem, is what's going on. And so a lot of stuff happened on Twitter. This is from the first thing I could pretty much see. 10 hours in the car today, I get out and find an insufferable douchebag Joey Ryan has tried to piss people off at me by drumming up fake controversy, so let's get to the bottom of this, shall we? Now, that is basically, from what I could tell, the start of all of this, and it just spun out of control, spiraled. People were posting things. I will say there is some stuff, there's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with. Like, Brian Last looked up, he posted, other people have posted the same exact thing, but I'm talking about the co-host Brian Last. I think drumming up old stuff is just shady. It just seems below. It just seems dumb. Everybody in this scenario, by the way, I'm talking Jim Cornette, Brian Last, all the fans, Joey Ryan even, I think is, being dumb in this scenario. I think a lot of people are just being dumb for something that was just said, just not knowing, just being uneducated about community terms and stuff. I think everybody is being stupid with this. And I'll tell you in a little bit what really to me is not okay. There's a lot of stuff, like the stuff that was said on both sides is dumb. I'll say that. I don't think anything has been, worse than the other, but I'm going to get to a point that I think is very, very wrong, and that this is where you got to draw the line. And like, guys, okay, the shit needs to end. So yeah, so I don't like what they're doing. I don't like the digging stuff up in the past, and all of that is very, very dumb. Like, Luchasaurus here came out and tweeted. He's one of the first people I remember that commented on this stuff too. Jim Cornette can hate on dinosaurs and wrestling all he wants. I've dealt with it for 65 million years. See, that's funny. That shows that he's taken a little more lightly, and like that part. But I have zero tolerance when it comes to hate on self-expression. My talented friend Sonny Kiss, there's no place for homophobia or any of Jim's antiquated views. Now, see, this is where, the first part was funny, more lighthearted, and then he instantly goes into homophobia. Guys, everybody can see the thing a different way. Everybody can see what they want almost. But you heard the words. He said terms that can be considered homophobic in certain contexts, but if you cannot listen to those and say that those were actually used to shit on Sonny Kiss. It was more of a against AEW type deal about, you're presenting this character and you're not given any background. He doesn't know what to think. He doesn't know if that is supposed to be a man or a woman. He doesn't know the pronouns. He doesn't know any of that stuff. So he doesn't know what to think besides make fun of it, which is he made fun of a lot of things on AEW's show. On Double or Nothing, he made fun of a lot of stuff. But this, of course, is being targeted and singled out. Now, here's another one that's unfortunate. This is the fiance for Sonny Kiss. You know, Jim Cornette has been a massive influence on me for a long time. Shame all that has to go out the window because he felt the need to say a bunch of homophobic shit about my fiance for the sake of shitting on AEW. Well done. Again, these are people blowing things out of proportion. That tweet went away. Again, these are people blowing things out of proportion, in my opinion. Yes. I mean, I've said it several times already. Yes, the stuff can be construed that way, but if you listen to what he's saying, he's talking about the product. He's talking about how nothing was revealed to him. All he saw was Sonny Kiss coming down to the ring, wearing what he or she... See, honestly, I don't know what to call Sonny Kiss. I don't know the proper pronouns because I also don't know how it's presented. I don't know to say him or her. I've seen interviews. I've watched some stuff, but I honestly, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, I'm not trying to be anything like that. I just honestly do not know. So when you have somebody, you know, that a lot of people say is out of touch and all this stuff and older and in a different generation, and you have someone like Jim Cornette, what the hell is he going to say? He's going to say the words that he knows, whether or not he knows that they are offensive. Yes, and they were. And should he apologize? We'll get to that in a minute. But Sonny Kiss came out and basically has not really said anything for the most part. Basically said, I'm going to let, you know, I'm not going to, you know, talk about it, but has been retweeting everybody shitting on Jim Cornette and stuff, basically saying stuff without saying stuff. And that's okay. Sonny Kiss definitely is the one that's being targeted for this stuff, and there's nothing wrong with defending yourself for the most part. But there is a lot of support coming out through this. And like I said earlier at the very beginning, I think this is actually going to be very good for Sonny Kiss. So the amount of attention Sonny Kiss is getting from this backlash is actually going to be a good thing for Sonny Kiss. Now, I'm saying a lot of wrestlers are coming out, like especially like my one of my favorite wrestlers at the moment, Sami Callihan, came out. Obviously, him and Jim Cornette have their own beef. That's a well-known thing. But I'm not saying these wrestlers are wrong for coming out supporting Sonny Kiss. I'm not saying that at all. But when they come out and say that Cornette was being homophobic, when I don't even know if a lot of these people have even listened to the podcast and listened to the context. They just hear and see what's happening. They see that everybody's saying Jim Cornette's being homophobic. He was homophobic. He said bad things. I don't see when I actually saw this blow up before I heard the podcast. I went and I listened to the podcast, and I was expecting way worse. I was expecting, you know, to say F words, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to say them on here, but saying a lot of worse things on the podcast. But what you heard was, you know, pretty much the worst of it. So I don't think these wrestlers are wrong for coming out and supporting Sonny Kiss during, you know, this blow up. There's nothing wrong. People are saying, yeah, the nicest, most athletic humans ever met. Yes, that is great. That is fantastic to say Sonny Kiss is a great wrestler, a super nice person. That is really good stuff. But when you start saying that people were homophobic and jumping on the, you know, the bandwagon, the real problem this is a bigger problem than just this specific thing. It's just the gang mentality, the group mentality of everybody ganging up and trying to do stuff to affect people, which is where I come in with my number one problem in this whole thing. Okay, so Joey Ryan, I'm going to close some of these tabs here. Joey Ryan came in. Let me find the tweet. Okay, we'll go through a couple one. This is it right here. This is the tweet where I think things really need to, you know, calm the fuck down. So Cornette is trash. People should be tagging MLW, beIN Sports, and beIN Sports USA about his homophobic rant. Get rid of this garbage human being. Now, see, this is the real problem with, I see a lot of stuff online and a lot of when this gang mentality. When they see somebody that doesn't agree with certain things, whether like, yes, he did not like a lot of stuff in AEW. And say what you will, throw that out of the way. You heard the thing, a homophobic rant. The quote homophobic rant, guys. Whether or not you're in the community, the LGBT community, or not, I feel like you heard the stuff. You can't logically think that was a homophobic rant. That was a rant that was an AEW rant about a character. This is my opinion. Yes, of course, that's what these shows are about. But he did that about all the people on that show that he did not like. He targeted what that person was, and he talked about Marco Stunt looking like a 7-year-old or whatever it was. He and he targeted that, Sonny Kiss came out wearing this stuff, and he could not tell what it was. And he said the words he knew, like the drag show and transvestite and stuff like that, because he didn't know better. And yes, here it is. I'm going to say it. Yes, he needs to educate himself, and he needs to come out, and he does need to apologize to Sonny Kiss, because how he did mess up, okay? Bottom line, he didn't know what was offensive, what was not offensive. Now, should he apologize to Joey Ryan or all these other people? I don't think he should. No, he should apologize to Sonny Kiss and say, hey, look, I'm sorry if I offended you. I didn't know those were terms that should not have been said. But when it comes to everybody else that's jumping on him, calling him homophobic, I don't doubt him at all. I don't blame him at all for lashing back on those people. And they're jumping on this bandwagon. Now, he should apologize to Sonny Kiss. Yes. But when you come in here and you try to get people to get fired from their job for bringing up this homophobic rant that he went on. See, that is where the problem is. That I've seen so much of this. All right, everybody, we got to start this big. We got to petition. We got to get everybody. We got to get this guy fired. Ruin his life, ruin his career, all because of something that has been stirred. The pot was stirred. You heard the quotes. I played it earlier. You heard it. It was not it wasn't a homophobic rant. Was it dumb? Was it ignorant? Sure. He said, in my opinion, he said way worse things than that on that show. Was it dumb? Yes. It was stupid. That's still ignorant, but it's still, I don't think it's homophobic or against the community, the LGBT community. If you listen to a lot of Jim Cornette, he's never really done anything bad, as far as if never said anything, homophobic or been against people in the LGBT community. This is being blown up by the main person here is Joey Ryan. It's being blown up by a lot of people, but the main target was Joey Ryan and everybody else. Yes. He's the one that blew it up. And later on, Joey went to say, I had to block a lot of people today who tried to defend, excuse, deflect, or flat out ignore intolerance and hate speech. It breaks my heart that so many people took that stance. Now, when you read this, it almost sounds like I am, backing Cornette on this. What he said was dumb, okay? What he said was stupid. He should apologize to Sonny Kiss for that. But people that are blowing it up, he should not. He's going to do what he does, and he's going to fight back. That's what Jim Cornette does, and it's funny. Jim Cornette is mainly a comedy relief person that does a podcast. He cuts promos on people. A lot of that is him cutting promos. And if you feel like I'm being ignorant or intolerant to the LGBT community, or I'm being homophobic, that you totally have that right to feel that way, but that is nowhere even close to the truth. And then the last thing that was just tweeted, actually not very long ago from me recording this, ultimately, it's not whether I think it's homophobic or if you think it's homophobic, it's how it makes Sonny Kiss feel, and that was made pretty clear. Who do you think recognizes this behavior more? You, me, or Sonny? I stand with Sonny. Now, earlier, he said ultimately it's not whether I think it's homophobic, but he literally talked about, this is the tweet that I have the biggest problem with right here, is when we need to, people should start tagging MLW, trying to get Jim Cornette fired for this. This is where it really gets bad. But he says right here about his homophobic rant, but then just recently he says not whether I think it's about whether it's homophobic. Contradicts itself. Now he's right about this. How does it make Sonny Kiss feel? I think Sonny Kiss was probably, felt bad and offended, but Jim Cornette should apologize for that. If he didn't know that stuff is wrong, he should apologize. He should apologize to Sonny Kiss. And like I said, at the end of the day, I think this is only going to, in a weird way, help Sonny Kiss. There's a lot of support, and that is good to see people coming out supporting wrestlers you like, supporting, the product you like, the AEW. Coming out and supporting is a very good thing. But when you're blindly calling people homophobic for comments that were just, I would say they were more ignorant than anything. Just, I don't think he was educated on the topic, the community. But then again, like I said, also, he said way worse things on that podcast against other people, in nobody batted an eye. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody cares about that. It's very interesting just to see how people are reacting to certain things in this community. But that's my opinion. Like I said, just to sum it all up, yes, Cornette should apologize to Sonny Kiss for the comments that he made. As for everybody else, though, I besides the LGBT community, if they were offended, or people, that were offended by that, and I know you can make the argument, people are offended way too easy, and I can't argue that at all. That is a true statement, but this is both sides being dumb. A lot of it is people not listening to the podcast. They're seeing that he said something homophobic, and they're jumping in on it. And the other side is him being ignorant to the terms that he, like the pronouns, and just not knowing the lingo in the community, and just saying the wrong thing. It's both sides being dumb, and when you have both sides being dumb and both sides really not being wrong, that is where you have something like this that blows up and it just keeps on rolling. But the only thing, like I said, last little goddamn thing I'm going to say about this is when you start to be, if I find it, when you start to get people's jobs, careers, and life, trying to get people to rally behind that, to me, Joey Ryan, you were the one right here that went over the line. Jim Cornette said dumb shit, yes, and Jim Cornette always says dumb shit. That's kind of his thing. But when you try to get people fired from their jobs and ruin their careers, that is where problems start to creep in, okay? Now, that's just my opinion, guys. What do you think? Let me know down below. Am I crazy? Am I wrong? Do you think I am, blinded or being ignorant? What do you think? Am I in the wrong here? And it's possible. I've tried to state that, my stance on it, and whether or not you believe or don't believe, I don't know. But let me know what you think about the biggest thing in wrestling right now. Even though we just had a TakeOver 25, it's completely being overshadowed by this BS that's going on in the internet community. And by the way, TakeOver 25 was a very good show. So, all right, I'm getting out of here, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for stopping by.